Hey everyone, I'm Pat Gillette from Dragonfly Art Studio. Today I want to talk about oil paint sticks, and I'm putting on my gloves because if there was anything that gets everywhere, it's oil paint sticks. But they're like wonderful. They're oil paints in a stick form that once they dry, you have an actual oil painting. It dries hard. This is like the biggest difference between these beautifully colored paint sticks and oil pastels. Oil pastels are always soft. They need a fixative, a few coats of a fixative to really set up. They need to be under glass, framed up. But these turn into oil paint. These completely turn into exactly the same kind of a thing as if you used oil paint from a tube, and the colors are just the same. They're wonderful. Now, here's one I've been practicing on, and let me just show you a few of the things that it can do. I taped off this area. This is the cool thing about this. I have seen oil paintings offered on paper. This is it. Oil on paper. This will dry perfectly hard in like 4 days time, and it's done in that wonderful sketch pad I have that takes all media. I mean, you can work on paper. You can play with the colors on scraps of paper, mix colors, try all kinds of things. And then I would say, you know, just kind of dump them because the colors get on everything. But I'm going to be using R&F. This is an R&F brand, and I'm also, the other one I really love are Shiva Artist Paint Sticks. Shiva, a Richardson company, and I get them both very likely from Dick Blick. And the first thing you're going to see about them is that it always says get the film off. I use just a palette knife, and the film is this actual little layer at the top that you just kind of cut right off and again get it into the garbage, you know, and then you have this creamy consistency, wonderful, incredible color in a stick form. I mean, you can draw with it, you can do so many things, you can mix colors. I'll be telling you some of my favorite colors as I go along, and if you'd like to know the list of everything I end up using in this one, just say something in the comments and I'll be glad to list them for you. This is just like any other painting. I would advise limiting your palette. Now, I took some photos yesterday, I'll be showing you those in a minute, and I limited my palette to blues, greens, some yellow, and white. I use a lot of white to mix, okay? Limit your palette. You'll have a lot more success with it that way. If you want to wear gloves, wear gloves. If you don't, if you want to get your hands into it and mess around with it, fine. You'll be able to scrub up with a scrub brush and soap when you're done. You want to clean the film off your knife with like a paper towel. A tissue is like too sticky, so you want paper towels around. The other thing I use a lot of are China markers. China markers are Sharpie peel off China marker where you kind of pull this string and more comes out. China markers work beautifully with oil paint sticks. And the other thing to remember is different brands, and depending on how thick you put it on, take longer to dry. Some brands dry quicker than others, but if I give it 4 days, all of this will set up into a really cool oil painting. So let me just set this aside. And we went out to the country yesterday for a drive, and I saw these trees and I just love them, and the sky. So I have a few pictures here, and I'm going to go for this sky, all these different tones happening in this sky. And then I really like how this area in here, the grassy part, came out. So, you know, I take a number of pictures and use different parts of the pictures to put together the painting. And then in this one, there was this raven flying over. How wonderful was that, you know? So I'm going to have these pictures kind of set up where I can reference them and check them out for my different pieces and hopefully put the bird in there. Okay, I'm going to start with a China marker. Now, I really would like there to be a lot of sky, and I'd like this land to be kind of have a little bit of a curve to it. So I'm going to start out with the China marker and also kind of start to put in some of those trees. There's a lot of sky showing through those trees, and I really like that a lot. So I'm gonna get some of this in. Seems to come up a little higher in the center. The China markers are markers that they advertise you can write on anything, like glass. They were created for labeling shipping items decades ago. They've been around a long time, let's just say that, you know. So I just want to get in some idea of these trees coming in, kind of the shape of them. Just to give myself something to follow along. And then this land. And then this field seems to come at an angle. Well, kind of just gets thinner and then thicker, kind of a thing like that. And then the lines seem to go out like this, leading our eye across. And all these wonderful greens. So what I've chosen, I have a few blues, dark, medium, light blues. This was corn down here. I may turn it into something else like Queen Anne's lace or something like that. So the way I would start this, you know, let's look at that one more time. I would start putting in some of the darker tones and then some of the medium tones, and then use my white as my blending tool. So I'm going to take a cerulean blue, and this is R&F. It comes in a plastic tube, and then you just take back the paper at the edge, and you've got a wonderful work surface after you've cleaned off the end. So I'm just going to put in some of this. Let's get this picture off to the side. Okay, so I'm kind of looking at the sky. A lot of clouds. Wonderfully powerful sky. And then kind of up in the end. And then it seems to have, if you look at shapes, you know, say you're looking at a picture, kind of look at shapes that you see. What are those shapes forming up to be? And then kind of squint at it and find lights and darks. And then there are a lot of shadows at the bottoms of these clouds. And then one of my favorite colors is Wedgwood Blue, and this is a Shiva brand, Wedgwood Blue, and I have a little piece of it here. And I want to use that to start to kind of blend. You can, you know, make sure you've got the right end. There we go. Okay. So you can see the Wedgwood blue. It's a great color. I don't know, it's kind of like a shadow or something, you know. But it's a great kind of a slate blue. If you're gonna buy them, you know, buy colors you love. That's my advice. There's a small kit of Shiva of little guys. I mean, like little guys. They're all this tall, but the whole set is like $60. And maybe you don't really need all of those. You know, you want to get colors you love, because those will be the colors that you'll be putting in everything. Find colors you love. There it is. There it goes. It's a nice slate blue. So I kind of put this over the very, very dark. And then my Shiva white, oh my goodness, you know, I found this. This is like incredible. And this is going to be my blending tool. I put this in, and this forms the clouds. This blends everything together. I mean, you know, it's so big. How you hold it, how you work with it, that's all making your own mark. It's pretty incredible. It's unlike anything else. It's certainly far, far different than paint or oil pastels. How nice it blends. And the colors, you know, this white goes on so creamy. Now you could use a baby wipe to blend. You could use just your gloved fingers. I want it to be quite a bit lighter in through here, kind of leading our eye in to the trees. So I leave some of those colors. And then I want to bring this white, you know, there are spaces between the trees. I want to bring that down in too. It's such an earthy feel to work like this, you know. And now I want to keep some of this color, but I want to get some of the white looking like the clouds. And as it gets down towards the horizon line, it gets a little bit lighter. I take some of that blue and put that in between the trees. It really turns out to be something originally yours, because it's how you move, it's how you bring it all together. So Wedgwood blue is one of my favorites. And then maybe a little bit whiter in through here. And how interesting, I have another white that's an R&F, and it's a little creamier. So let's just put that in and see what we end up with. You see how the layers work? With this one, I'm able to get a little bit more control and a different tone of white. Very whitish white. So anywhere it's really light, I'll put this in. That's where it helps to have a picture to go by. You know, yes, you can make it all up, but with a picture you kind of, you know, if you lose yourself along the way, you can find your way back again. And you get it looking like strokes of oil paint, you know. It's just very fascinating how it all works. Soften the edge a little bit. So you can do the same kinds of techniques as you do in painting. Let's get some of this in. And it's just like cream, working with cream. Okay, that's pretty good. A little bit of this tone in through here. You want to break it up and make everything have a little bit of interest to it. And then, oh, that's pretty good for a sky. You know, kind of know when to stop. So now I want to get this green in. There's a green that I love, and it's a celadon green. And this green is just so interesting. Let's make these lines kind of alternating. I'm going to change the direction of the line to take our eye more towards the center. Oh, this is a blending tool, by the way. This is a blending tool that we could also use instead of our fingers. So this is Naples yellow. I'm going to just kind of take this off into lines of going this way. As though the tractor or something took us that way. And then this is the celadon green. And it's just such a great color. And you know, it's you interpreting the picture. So I'm going to go back to using my white again and kind of blending in some of this green. Just a nice color. So you can get half sticks. Also, you can get half sticks of a lot of these colors. I'm going to use that Naples to kind of blend a little bit. And we'll try the blending tool. This is a colorless blending tool. It just kind of gives us, I don't know what it is exactly, but it helps to pull the colors together. And then a bit more of this. I like to get this, the base of the trees, have a little bit more stability, a little bit more solidness happening. I have a green that is a viridian green. Deep, very, very deep. Very, very deep. We'll just try a little bit of that. And then if you want to clean off the ends of anything, just use a paper towel. And back to my little blending tool. And then just kind of, when you like it, just, that's it. Now with the trees, I'm going to go back to my China marker and start to put them in a bit. So we see the sky coming through. And then I'm going to use some of that green I like again, and just kind of put in some of the leaves, the tops. You want to have some different tones. This is a very pale green, kind of coming through. Giving the impression of some things at the bottom. And I always say our mind puts it together. Our mind tells us what it is, kind of stocky things with bushy tops must be trees. And then work into it with the deeper one. And get the shapes. And then I work back into it with my China marker. And now it starts to pick up some of the oil. Some of the oil of it. And they start to blend. The China marker will be kind of like the deepest. And I don't like to use a black. Black can be so deadening sometimes. But deep, deep tones. The China marker kind of blends with the colors you have on there already. Carry it through. Okay, stop moving too much. And if I wanted to, I don't know, let's put in a little dabs of very, very dark. This is like a Payne's gray. It's kind of, you know, you want a lot of light, some medium, and then just some dabs of dark. I'll just keep there, so you clean it off. Just get some of the shapes. Just kind of carry along the tops. You know, when you play, the best thing to start to play is to try something new you've never done before. Try new media. Now, I've done seascapes with this before, but this is the first time I'm doing trees from a photo. And then just get in a little bit more of this. You know, and it takes 4 days to dry. But you can always work into it with the China marker. Like the next day, things kind of set up. And get the tree line. You know, it's your interpretation of the tree line. Or whatever it is that you've got. But these are just so cool, so powerful. And then, now for the bottom, I'm thinking, you know, it was a lot of corn, but I'm thinking of taking a little bit of the really dark, make sure you can see all that. Yes, okay, really dark. And then you want things closer to you to be a bit more vibrant. So I have this cadmium green light that I want to give it a try, kind of in blending with this to get a different kind of a tone, a little bit more brilliant, close to us. You know, with this you can cover up an area pretty quickly. And then I'm going to use the blending tool and carry this up. See, and then it gets a little lighter at the top. You can give the impression of so many things with just a few strokes. You know, you don't have to make every leaf on the tree to make it look like it's a tree. So this is that blending tool. Bring it back down again. Okay. And carry it up so that it overlaps that middle part and it's growing out. Grassiness, it's something else happening here. And then a little bit more of that deep, really deep darkness, kind of accentuating things. Darker at the edges, coming through. I'm going to also take a little bit of the Naples yellow. Is that coming through kind of sort of in the middle a little bit more? Leads our eye in, and my big white, big mega white, there it is. Okay, big mega white. Just gonna, you know, I've seen this, the Queen Anne's lace around, and give the impression of some of that. Maybe it's yarrow. It's something wonderful that grows along the roads here. And because it's so creamy, you can use a palette knife and get some really fine lines happening. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to play with this and make it do things. And then kind of stand away and, you know, take a look at it and see what else it might need. I think I'm going to take a little bit of that real creamy white and just put that in places. In the center to attract our eye. And in the trees. And use a white China marker to just kind of clarify. Clean up the edges a little bit. Also kind of blends. And I think that's going to be it for today. I think I'm going to call it a day, and you know, I can, oh, my bird, how about the bird? How would I do the bird? Okay. Yeah, how would I do the bird? Good question. I'm gonna take, let's see, what's my deepest, darkest? No, the trick is to not get my fingerprints on this as I put the bird in, okay? Because I'm all full of everything. But it's kind of is, I think I'm going to just take some of this deep, deep, dark stuff and put it on a pencil and just kind of work it in. Oops, got a little bit of stuff there. You know, whatever you touch, whatever's been on you, It's easy to just leave everywhere your mark. And today I'm wearing an apron. Gloves. Oh, I'm still leaving dots. You know, a girl in an art class of mine in college spilled a whole bottle of ink on her whole painting, walked away, came back the next day and turned every one of them into a bird. I mean, you know, there's always something you can fix. There's always something that can be done. And maybe with, I don't know, little dots, are they so bad? Maybe we can just kind of blend them into something. And, okay, I think we got a bird. We've got a tree line, we've got a sky with clouds. You know, you always want to do something else. You always want to do something more. But sometimes it's good to just stop for the day, take a step away, take a picture of it, and come back tomorrow and see what else it needs. I might be tempted to make some of these little lines a little bit bringing our eye back a little bit more. But again, you know, you could play with it until you mess it up, and you might as well quit while you're ahead. A little bit of this real white for these flowers in the middle. So, a few little buds or something at the bottom and rising up here. So, have fun with this, play with them, work on paper, work on canvas, work on whatever you got, and ask me any questions about anything in the comments section. And I thank you so much for being here. And have fun with this. Oil paint sticks. Give it 4 days and you've got an oil painting. Talk to you soon. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.